Hey team, it's Andy again. Wanted to show everyone kind of an exciting new feature for security in the upcoming Universal Control Plane and Docker Trusted Registry products, and it is full PKI support. Now, for those that aren't familiar, PKI is public key infrastructure. Essentially, it is a private key pair used by a user to authenticate to a website or other services. A lot of industry, a lot of government uses PKI because of its simplicity to implement at the user level. In other words, I've got my key pair, my browser automatically uses it every site I go to. I never need to log in because my key basically authenticates me. And obviously, there's going to be some authorization layers on top of that. So I'm working off of a gist right now, and the gist will be in the show notes. One thing to note that these features are available as of Universal Control Plane 3.2 and Docker Trusted Registry 2.7. Let's go ahead and deploy. So we've got Universal Control Plane set up right now. And what we need to do is we need to add the client CA. So I'm actually going to get that right now. So I have a PKI directory. And in there, I've got a bunch of files from an old client bundle from Universal Control Plane. The ca.pem doesn't matter. It's the original CA. That was the one that originally signed those certs. I'm not going to go into great detail, but you just got to trust me on that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy to our clipboard. Go under admin settings, certificates, scroll all the way down to client CA and paste it in. Now, and if you had any intermediates, it would be the root CA as well as any intermediates. Please do keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And what that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and bounce the web server. And that takes a split second to do. Looking back at our gist, we need to go ahead and set up the Docker Trusted Registry in a similar fashion. Unfortunately, we don't have it in the GUI yet. I know that is coming. What we need to do is go through basically the Docker run command on the node. So what I need to do now is I need to copy that same original CA PEM to my DTR node. Let's go ahead and copy that. I'm going to flip over here to that node. And we've got the original file. And what I need to do is now run a Docker Reconfigure command. So let me go ahead and copy that. And effectively what I'm doing is doing a reconfigure and logging. It effectively logs into UCP and DTR. I do a -- enable client cert auth and give it the PEM, and away we go. Now, one thing I need to do, just because of this being a preview release, is change one thing. You won't have to do this in the field. And here we go. It's talking Universal Control Plane. It says I've got a replica there. And now it's going to do the CA injection, and away we go. While that's running, while DTR is reconfiguring, we can keep moving on. So effectively right now, what we've done is we've told both Universal Control Plane and DTR, hey, there's a client CA that's signing our user certs. That's the CA that these certs need to come from. But we still need to add the CA to add the user's public cert to their account. And the way we do that is one of two ways. One, you can go under, if yourself, you go under my profile and see it says new client bundle. I can go ahead and click add existing client bundle. I'm gonna go ahead and put PKI in. And then what I need to do is now I need to go back to my PKI directory. I need to get my PEM, and now I need to paste it in here. So there's my PEM for my user account. And what this does is effectively associating that cert with my user account. So when Universal Control Plane or DTR sees that cert coming in terms of a client verify, when it sees that cert coming in, it automatically knows who I am and which RBAC roles to apply to my account. So that's the first way. The second way is using the API. So if you go to your API docs for Universal Control Plane, there are several API endpoints for get, post, delete, and patch. So for example, if we did get and we click try out, and since I'm using the admin account. Ooh, caps lock. Admin account, and I'm gonna assume start with 0, limit 0, and let's go ahead and just hit execute. And what we should see is there I've got the public cert for my admin account. So the full API capability, which is pretty cool. So if you wanted to automate a front end, a front door to automatically populate, there's a couple different ways to do that. Okay, so let's just make sure DTR came back. Yep, everything looks good. So now that I've got my CA, my client CA in both UCP and DTR, I've added my public cert. Now what we need to do is configure the Docker engine to use those client keys to talk to, say, DTR or UCP. So what we'll do is I actually have another VM here. It's Ubuntu on my machine. And what I've done is I've scripted some of this. But what I need to do is, notice I've got, in the PKI directory here, I've got the same cert and key. What I need to do is I need to move that over to the spot in, sorry, pull my notes up. I need to move it to a spot where the daemon can see it. And that directory is etc. So here's what we'll do. Go etc docker search.d fqdn. So I'm using dtr.docker.life. And notice I've got nothing in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rsync. Go to the ls. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rsync the client.cert and the client.key. And what that does is that tells the daemon that I'm going to be able to use that for all its pushes and pulls. And to be safe, I'm going to restart Docker. And then I've got a handy shell script. And what I do here is I notice I've got the Docker login commented out. But what I basically do is I go and curl and set up for Ubuntu. I curl DTR, get the CA, put it in an appropriate place, update the certs, move it also into that certs.d, move it also into Docker TLS. That's used for the notary command. That's not necessary for what most people are doing. And then I do some pushes and pulls. So let's go ahead and run this. Oh, and just to prove that I don't have a Docker, I haven't run Docker login, do an ls-sl. So go to home directory, Docker. Notice there's no config.json. And that's where Docker login stores its info. So that being said, let's go ahead and run our demo script. So I'm pulling from hub, and now I'm pushing to DTR without any Docker login because the certificates worked for me. Now, if you wanted to take this a step further, and a lot of people do, is you have the ability with browsers nowadays to go ahead and add in your keys. Now, let's say, for example, if you were using an old client bundle or a current client bundle, you'll need to convert that to a P12 file, and I'll go ahead and update the gist for that. But in the meantime, what I can do is I've already created a gist, and I'm in Firefox, go all the way down to View Certificates, and let's go ahead and import. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to import a P12 that I've made ahead of time. Oh, we're not Alice today. There's our cert P12. Remember the super secret password. And now I've added that same cert into my browser. What this allows me to do, let me pull up a new browser tab, a private, and go to UCP. It's kind of interesting. When your browser connects to the server says, "Hey, I've validated my cert. Do you have a cert?" Browser's like, "Yeah, I do actually." And then it says which certificate would like to use, and I only have one, so I'm going to go ahead and hit check OK. I'm going to leave remember this decision, and let's watch what happens. Notice I didn't have to log in. If I go under admin, I don't have a sign out. Where if I look at my logged in session, I do have a sign out. With PKI, there is no concept of sign out or sign in. You're just always authenticated. And the nice thing is now, as a user, I can go between the services. Again, we're gonna use that same cert. And now I don't need to enter a username and password ever for the GUI. Now, if this is a situation where you've got a user and you want to revoke that capability, real easy way to do that. Go into Client Bundles, that's PKI, go ahead and hit X. And let's go here and let's actually refresh the page. And notice it's asking me to log in. So that's a real easy way to unauthorize someone to use PKI. I hope this is helpful. I hope this sheds some light on PKI and demystifies it a little bit. And again, I'll post the gist in the show notes. Have a good day.